But
he's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
You've been
Not
at the
you,
club.
Huddo. You're good too, but Russ is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pairs on a Pod. This week, we have a very special guest after the two massive guests we had over the last couple of episodes, Alapale Carlo and Gavin Wanganeen. Make sure you go check them out because they are absolutely ripper podcast. But we do have someone very special joining us this week. But firstly, I've got to introduce my co-host, who he thinks he's the man of the media. It's Jack Hudson. How are you, Huddo?
Yeah, hey, mate. Yeah, going very well. My heart rate's nice and relaxed. We haven't played for a while, so I'm ready to have it all pumped up again tomorrow night and then again on Saturday for the Sample.
Yes, it's going to be a massive week back at footy for the second half of the year. But I should introduce our guest this week. It's a very, very prominent figure in the Port Adelaide community. He's the general manager, media and communications. I introduced the man that is actually the face of the media, Daniel Norton. Norts, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Ant. Thanks, Huddo. Thanks for having me. I've come after Gavin Wanganeen, so that's a real big shoes to fill. I mean, I won't say it's a slow news week, but I'm happy to be on, guys. Just go easy with me. But I'm looking forward to joining you over the next 45 minutes.
Oh, Norts, I don't think we've got a bigger Port man to have on the pod. Just go through it, like your love of Port Adelaide. Like we could be here for a long time talking about it, but how did it start? And just take us through the journey.
Yeah, we've all got our own individual journeys, haven't we? How we fall in love with the club, whether it be, the newer generation, the AFL era, or whatever it might be. But mine certainly was entrenched because of my age. I'm in my late 40s now, but through the SANFL era, and I never grew up in the Port Adelaide area. I never have lived in the Port Adelaide area since that point. But it's generational because my grandparents, great-grandparents grew up at Cheltenham and then at Kilkenny and near Woodville. And so part of Mum's family was always connected to Port Adelaide. Well before Woodville was even established, it was all about Port Adelaide as a football club in that Western District. And it's just like a lot of supporters, it just gets handed down to you from your generation to generation. And I grew up actually for the first 12 or 13 years of my life way down south, like down at Christie's Beach and that area, and couldn't be any further away from Port Adelaide. But Mum and I used to catch two buses, so I grew up with a single mum, and and she was just so connected to the Port Adelaide sort of spirit through her parents and grandparents, and you don't know any other way. Once it's in your blood, there is no other way. It's in your DNA forever. So no, I'm very grateful, and I had a great upbringing watching the boys win premiership after premiership.
That's a nice change from what we have, Ant.
Yeah, we're a bit different in that aspect, but still the same. But Nort, growing up in that era of premiership after premiership, who was someone you idolised the most through that time?
Oh, it's a really good question, and there's always Russell Ebert, but Russell Ebert was sort of in the twilight even of his career when I was growing up, and I started really getting passionate about football in about 1982. So Russell retired in the end of 85. So he was God. He was always revered within the community, but you tend to identify, yourself in the younger players. So I was sort of, Craig Bradley was coming through that time, as we all know, unbelievable. I played 98 games for Port and then went to 375 games for Carlton or whatever. Had a duffel coat with his number on the back. Then I got a lace up with Greg Anderson, number 26, who, of course, won the Magarey medal when I was 12 in 1986 and was just a phenomenal player, and then went to Essendon. So those two, the on-ballers, the centreman Craig Bradley and the wingman Greg Anderson. But really the standout when you're in your late teens and your early 20s was Scotty Hodges. He was just he won so many games. He was sort of like for those that didn't watch him play, he was the strong, heroic version of the SNFL version of like a Robbie Gray. Like he would always just win that. He'd kick the magical goals. He'd kick 5 1/4. Well, he'd bob up when you least expect it. Different sort of player to Robbie Gray, like completely different the way they played. But we know Robbie in the modern era as always being that go-to man. Well, it was Hodges in the late 80s through to the late 90s. He was just unbelievable and won us so many games. So it'd be those three guys.
Yeah, And you mentioned Russ as well. Like you wrote the story after his passing. What was it like to work with him and have him as a friend? Like we've had a lot of different stories about Russ over the pods that we've done. But what was one real Russ story that stood out for you?
Oh, goodness me. There was so many. Like you actually had to, when I first started at the footy club, you've got to, I actually met Russ earlier actually through 5AA. So I was producing 5AA Saturday morning sports show back in the mid-2000s when Russell was on there with Rucci and Ken Cunningham and Graham Corn. So I sort of got to know him before I went to the club. But then you go to the club and you're like, you've got to pinch yourself like, that guy's desk is 15 metres away. I'm sitting over here and I'm sort of writing some media releases and stories on the computer, and you sort of catch yourself looking over at Russ thinking, I can't believe it. I grew up idolising this guy and now he's a work colleague. You know, I'll bump into him in the kitchen. I'll approach him to do me a favour for work or whatever. There's not one real Russ story. It is a feeling of what he did for the community, what he did for the club, what he did for others that no one knew about, you know, where, you know, and we heard those stories at the wonderful celebration of his life at the funeral where he'd regularly go and cut people's tree, you know, help with gardening and, you know, every Sunday and on a Saturday he'd go and, you know, clear the gutters of the roofs or whatever he'd do all those, you'd hear those stories often around the club and you just grow up understanding him as a footballer but then appreciating him more as a man. What was funny though, I was always given the task of Norts, can you go and ask Russ if he could do this, this, or this? That's. Can he take someone on a tour? Can he sign an autograph? Can he front a documentary? So I would be sidling up to Russ, and Russ would be sort of at his computer, and he'd know you're there. He could feel your shadow there. You'd know he'd know you're there, but he'd make you earn the moment until he was quite ready, and he'd sort of turn it around. Norts, obviously trying to roll out Russ again, is it? And it would sort of cut you off at the pass straight away. And you sort of be, was it? Well, as a matter of fact, you know, I only come up to you, Russ, now when I need something. And he's okay, what do you want? And then, you know, you reel out something and go, okay, well, why don't you get me to do this? You got to get me to speak at a function. On the way out, you need to interview me for a documentary. You need me to sign 15 autographs. Why don't you shove a broomstick up my ass as well so I go and swim the grandstand? I can do that. In fact, instead of putting a broom up my backside, my beautiful wife Di's now upgraded to the Dyson. So you just want to put a Dyson vacuum cleaner up and I'll start vacuuming the floors while I go around doing everything else for you. Anything else you want me to do, Norts? That would be his one-liner all the time. And you walk off sheepishly going, he'd know all the time. Like, I'm always willing to help. It was a bit of theatre, always willing to help the community, but he'd make you earn it internally, which was great.
The Dyson.
Yeah, the old Dyson up the backside.
Well, that's how Huddo treats me.
True. But
he's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
You've been
Not
at the
you,
club.
Huddo. You're good too, but Russ is.
That's going to the intro. You've been at the club since 2008, is it not?
Yeah, April. Yeah, just after Anzac round, April the 26th, I think, 2008. Yep.
So, been a bit rough since what's gone out? What's going on, mate? You've been a part of like some of the toughest times for Port Adelaide. What has it been, sort of working amongst that professionally? But you've seen some great stuff as well, like the comeback of 2013-14, as well as the minor premiership in 2020.
Well, I started questioning myself when I first came to the club, Huddo Ant. I've lobbed there 6 months after we played in the grand final in 07, albeit, yeah, let's not talk about that, but we still played in the grand final. It took us 6 bloody more years to get to the bloody final since I was there. So I'm thinking, yeah, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12. And obviously 13, we had that revival, as you talked about. Look, there's been some incredibly tough times to manage from a media perspective. If you think about the breadth of that story, so I've seen 2 coaches come and go. I've seen 2 presidents of the board come and go. I've seen Greg Bolton to start with, and then Brett Duncanson, both magnificent men and have done a remarkable job. But just they've come and gone. Board directors come and go. Assistant coaches, tragically a player death. I mean, you layer all this through. John McCarthy, of course, God bless him. What a wonderful person. So you think about that, and that's in the first 5 or 6 years. That's a huge amount to deal with, but also to try and manage in a way that you're keeping the community informed, transparent. You're trying to support people internally, but you're also trying to create a platform for information to be shared under enormous pressure. Big moments. And then we had the move to Adelaide Oval, which is phenomenal. It was part of the resurgence of the footy club. Fortunate enough to be involved in 3 games in Shanghai. Brilliant CEO Keith Thomas, brilliant CEO now Matthew Richardson. I really, and David Koch. So there's been a breadth of people that I've worked with and different personalities, and I've seen the club evolve so much since 2008. So look, the long answer to your question, but there's been a lot of water under the bridge, and 3 preliminary finals. We always wish we, converted those 3 prelims into a grand final, of course, a premiership. But we still, we still fight hard for that dream. So, yeah.
What's been, out of all of the big stories and everything, what's been a particularly favourite moment to have produced, or a bit of content they've been like, wow, I can't wait to get that out?
Yeah, it was probably a really good question again. Like we've done a lot of content over many years. I'll say the real obvious one first was, the Onward to Victory documentary for our 150th. I really enjoyed that more than, and this is Port Adelaide, not to confuse the two. This is Port Adelaide, is more the theatrical version, the cinematic one, which told a story through the supporters' eyes, which I loved, absolutely loved it. But the Onward to Victory one for me was nuts and bolts footy. It was about telling that hard-edged story about Port Adelaide. So if you didn't know anything about the footy club, sit down and watch this for an hour and you'll learn about the DNA of Port Adelaide. Not that this is Port Adelaide through the supporters and volunteers' eyes, didn't do that, but I really loved the Onward to Victory. But the lesser one, we were one of the first clubs back in 2014, and I'm testing everyone's memory here, of bringing people bringing cameras within the change rooms. And there was a piece of content that we did before the first showdown at Adelaide Oval where Kenny was he called in the leadership group and we recorded his message, we filmed it, and no one had ever really done this sort of stuff before. It took a bit to get over the line. I was like, Ken, do you mind if we share this? This is like on the Monday, Tuesday after we won. Yeah, I'm happy with it, as long as it's, presented the right way and it doesn't look like we're sort of gloating or anything like that. I just think it's a really important piece of content, intersecting content that takes our stakeholders, our most important stakeholders, our members and supporters on this journey to Adelaide Oval with us. Why it's so important. So we end up giving it the 360. Robbo and Gerard Waitley played it, and I remember Robbo saying, "Yeah, now we've evolved since this point." And when Robbo's like, he said, "Oh, Pepper, I think that's one of the best pieces of football content I've ever seen. It's unbelievable," And it was Kenny talking to the group about how important it was representing Port Adelaide and the community in our first game back at Adelaide Oval, running out the Jeff Motley race in front of our own people. So that was one of my favourite pieces of content, and I could not wait to get it out because it was new and no one had really, of course there'd been docos before, like the Year of the Dog and all that and other behind the scenes stuff, but no one had really done it in the modern age to actually take people into the change rooms, into a team meeting. So I love that one.
I do remember that, actually. I do remember that.
And we did another one for the Richmond final as well.
Yes.
Where he spoke about, this is what this should be your favourite day. This is what we play for. This is why we're here. Of course, that who'd ever forget that first quarter?
Oh, I was very hungover that day. I had a mate's 21st the night before. I was at a very sore head, so that first quarter did not help.
I've got a funny story about that game. I nearly blew when you get so excited early, you almost black out. You're raw. You sort of blow a foofer valve, and you're nearly done. I nearly blacked out when Westy, I think, kicked the first goal. I was just sort of walking to my seat and all that. But I've got a really interesting story. Sort of interesting. I was sitting in the media centre that day, level 4 cricket media centre. So not the Western Stand one where the football commentators are, but we get this sort of, as a club, you get access to this media centre.
What a view that would be. Whew.
Oh, magnificent. Behind the Southern Goals, the Riverbank stand, level 4. I'm there, and I've got social media coordinator next to me at the time. So think of you and me, Huddo, at an SANFL game. This is like an AFL version. And guess who comes behind me? Ross Lyon, an assistant coach. So Ross was, you might remember, we played Fremantle the following week because I think they finished above us and lost their qualifying. And so Ross was obviously knew he'd play one of us or Richmond. And I was just listening to what he was saying. And Ross was saying, great spectacle, Adelaide Oval. It's like, this is phenomenal. We were at the prison bars that day. He's gone, they absolutely get behind them. I wasn't there for the Never Tear Us Apart moment. He was talking about Never Tear Us Apart and saying, it's just some sort of atmosphere here at Adelaide Oval because it was new for him too, the stadium at that point. So really fascinating, sort of half eavesdropping on Ross Lyon preparing to play us the week after. And we beat them the week after too. We got the job done.
Oh, that night, I remember you would probably been at the game for that, I reckon. Well, that would have been incredible because I was at Albert and don't know where you were, Ant, but that was like the game was actually there at Albert and Oval because the crowd was so loud.
Yeah, we forget we were 4.5 goals down at half time, I reckon.
Yeah.
Ollie started getting some clearances early. Robbie kicked 2 or 3 in that third quarter. We were still about a goal or 2 down at three-quarter time.
Yep.
And then Ollie kicked the remarkable goal. Wingard did that run down the wing. Polo kicked the sit. We ended up winning by 4 or 5 goals or something.
Yeah, we beat them quite comfortably. And it was, the most incredible game. I'm trying to work out which is actually my favourite between that and the elimination final sometimes just because of how phenomenal that comeback was. So it's always hard to do. And
Fremantle were red-hot favourites because I think the year before they played the grand final in 13.
Yeah.
So they were ready. They were ready to go. I think we obviously put them out in straight sets that year, that semi-final. So, yeah.
Now, in terms of pieces of content, Norts, team talk, we want it back. Can we get team talk back? We love team talk.
Renault team talk.
But without the Renault bit, obviously.
Yeah.
But
MG we need MG team talk.
Yeah, of course. Who are Renault? Gracious me. Renault. MG, yeah, absolutely. MG team talk. What did you like about that so much?
Oh, just because Ant and I featured on it a bunch of times, really. It was just quirky, like sort of get the fans to do it, and there was some weird questions that would come up. And it was always good when a few blokes would stitch up each other, like Kane and Dom talking about their rooming together, which was apparently a disaster. So, but those sorts of stories were just really cool for an insight, we thought.
Yeah, so when did we, I should know this, we stopped doing that obviously when the partnership ended, I reckon, in about 2017 maybe. It's a fair while ago, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to take that to our WIP meeting on Monday.
Yes.
And, I'm going to write it down right now. I'm going to put it on the agenda. And look, I'm not guaranteeing it's back, but between you, me, and Ant, we're going to fair bit of pull. So we're going to try and get team talk back.
What?
TORQUE.
Yeah, we'd even come in and host it if you want, Norts. Like, we'd happily do that.
Yeah, well, Huddo, you're everywhere already at the moment, mate. I can you're editing papers, you've got podcasts going on here, you're working the Magpies, you're doing this, you're doing it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I still want more to do.
He doesn't share.
With an Ant.
He doesn't share. He's a megahead. That's what he is. And he's all over Twitter as well. It's just shocking.
Oh, it's prolific. One man that loves you on Twitter, I've noticed, I follow the sort of the dialogue, Graham Studley-Corns.
Yes.
You got a connection with the stud.
So, yeah, Cornsy and I connect while we're at the Tizer. It was quite funny, actually. I wrote this story about footy 100 years ago, and I was doing a bit of stuff, and for some reason he comes in on a Friday, like when he did his column, he's like, Jack, your story really inspired me to sort of look back at some old pictures and stuff like that. And he actually mentioned me in his column that week. And it was kind of really cool. Like, yes, Stud and I really get along quite well. So I saw him after we beat them at the Bay this year, actually. I think you'd already gone down to the locker room and I was chatting with Cornsy and just going, pretty good game. He's just like, nah.
He wasn't happy to Stud.
No, he thought it was a decent game, but he was quite complimentary of us, which was a bit weird. Wouldn't get that on air, I don't think.
Yeah, that's sad. Oh, you would think after all these years you get used to losing to Port Adelaide and he's heartbroken, but anyway, that's one of those things.
He's a good fella. You had a bit of interaction with him the other day, didn't you, on Twitter with some old highlights?
Yeah, well, there's this. I did mention Greg Anderson was my favourite player of all time.
Yes.
Growing up. Well, he got taken out in the most. It was terrible. It was a shocking. It's on Twitter. Scott Salisbury took him out the final in a qualifying final when we were up early in the first quarter. He won the McGarry the week later. He was the dominant player. He got completely taken out, and I swear, Cornsey and I think Ando thinks as well that he said Salisbury was an assassinator, went out to take him out, and so I had a little chip at Graham on Twitter and said, "I'm sure Graham, you said that Greg Anderson ducked into it and should have been holding the ball," and he was quick to bite back, which is great. Good to stir him up.
He's good value actually, Cornsey. Over the years, Norts, especially early days, like focused more probably on the retired group. Who was probably the best sort of player to coordinate into doing like media stuff, and who was a bit tough sometimes, if you can say?
The best player, I mean, it varies a little bit. I've got to say, I understand there's a level of anxiety. Firstly, can I just preface this by saying I can understand there's a level of anxiety the players feel under pressure, particularly if you're early days when we weren't winning much. They feel like they're representing not only themselves, but most importantly, they feel like they're representing their teammates and the whole brand of the club. So it's a fear of making a mistake, just like they fear making a mistake on the footy field. They fear saying the wrong thing in the media. Look, probably the best one to work with, and he instinctively comes to mind, is Jackson Trengove.
Oh, Jacko.
He was always willing to. Kane was very good, Kane Corns, but Jackson Trengove was always willing to do it, win, lose, or draw. He was always really connected, and the important thing when you do media is you have to have the mindset of actually wanting to do it. Because if you don't want to do it and you're robbed through it as a chore, then you're not going to communicate effectively with the most important people, and that's our members. So he would always have the mindset. I know he's a larrikin, but he'd take it seriously. He would always take that part of the role really seriously. He'd be invested in discussions that we'd have, and he'd be willing to do it, win, lose, or draw. So he was great. Tough ones. Well, one of the toughest ones is still on the list. And this player, I might give this away, has been around since I've been at the club. Oh. So I'll give you three guesses. But we love him, but he's very hard to convince to do much media.
Oh, I'm going to go
Robbie Gray.
100%. And you know why? Right. You know why? It's a snapshot of his personality. He's actually humble. He's actually it's based on his personality that he's got so much modesty and humility. He actually doesn't want to be seen to be the guy on the pedestal. He'll certainly do it if I beg him to do it. Or maybe he won't. But no, he's a great team. What I'm trying to say, he plays the team role, but he's so humble. It's and you can see the way he plays is even humble. He doesn't over-celebrate. He's the most gifted player that's in the competition today, yet he's so humble the way he does things, the way, he still gives up time for the fans in other ways. So, but Robbie's a little bit tricky to navigate through doing some media. Who in the early years? Chad was always hard too.
Oh, really?
Both Chads actually, Wingard and Corns.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, no, but most of them, a wonderful group to work with.
And
I reckon there's a bit of a. I reckon Nort's has got a bit of a man love for Robbie Gray. He's been mentioned a few times, a bit like me with Trav.
No, you with Trav is unhealthy.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
We all love Trav too, though. We all love.
Yes.
It's hard not to love Trav and Robbie for what they've given to this football club.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yes, and so much more.
Another friend of the pod, Norts, and because we know he loves his name being mentioned on here. We're wondering what he was like to deal with the Eagle Killer, Jason Davenport. What was he like?
Dave was really, really, really good to deal with. He actually had a passionate interest in media and communication. In fact, he came up to me when he was about to retire one day and said, any chance I could apply for a job as media manager within the department, believe it or not. So he won't mind me sharing that. So he was really, really, really passionate about media. The Eagle Killer. Yeah, no, he was good to deal with. What you find is sometimes those players that, excuse me, are more on the fringe, with all due respect, are actually grateful sometimes to be asked and grateful to be considered. Like, really, I'd love to try and build my brand, build up my network of contacts, etc., and meet people when I go and do media. So he was one of those. He was always really forward thinking and ahead of his time, and far out. Didn't he dominate against the Eagles? Well, he kicked 4 in that last quarter, Sue.
Yeah.
He kicked 3 at Footy Park in 2011, 2012, I reckon, against him.
He just loved playing against him.
2009 it was, sorry.
Yeah.
He was just a phenomenal matchup.
He knows it too. That's the thing.
He does. He loves
so you had him on a few weeks ago?
We did. We had Dav. He's a big listener, actually. He loves it. He was referencing old episodes, which was even better. So shout out to Dav. Great man.
What's he doing? He was coaching in the Carlton system, wasn't he? Up to a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think COVID changed that. I think he's one of the development programs within the AFL now. So, yeah.
Great. Well, Dad, if you're listening, mate, hi, how about a bloody text message or something like just to say good day? Like, unbelievable. I'm going to text him after this, tell him I'm following in his footsteps and I've boosted the ratings.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. I reckon, Ant, while we're talking about not sort of following in footsteps and stuff like that, I reckon we move into our first segment. Or actually, not the segment. I reckon the surprise first.
All right, Norts. Look, I've been fed some very handy information from Huddo and other sources to say that you're a very knowledgeable person. You have a lot of, what can I say? You have a lot of stats in that head of yours. So I thought I would put you and Huddo to the test because he as well likes to brag about his stats in his head and have a bit of a test, a bit of a schoolyard exam for you both. So I'm going to give you 6 questions each.
Right.
And whoever can answer the most correctly has the bigger head. Huddo has it regardless, but I think you've got him covered by the length of the of Flemington Strait. So,
all right, Ant.
Norts, welcome to Ant's quiz.
I like it.
We're going to start you off. Who was the first ever Port Adelaide Rising Star nominee in the AFL?
As in winner or nominee?
Nominee.
Nominee. Norwich Rising Star was back in 1997. Look, it might not be the obvious one that I think it is, as in the winner. That's what's worrying me here. But
I love it.
It might have been out of our round 3 Geelong win. Round 3 Geelong when we beat them at Footy Park. It might have been out. I'm just going to go the obvious one. I'm going to go Michael Wilson.
All right, I'll give you the answers at the end, but the round was correct. I will say that. Who did Port beat for the first ever win in the AFL?
Is that for me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you've got 6 and I've got 6 Norts.
Well, I just answered. So who did Port beat?
Who was Port's first ever win in the AFL?
Geelong.
Who wore number 31 in 2004?
You're shocking.
Well, 31 in 2004.
Well,
that's got a little bit of look at me about it. Long sleeve, sort of 31. Stephen Salopek?
Yes.
Very nice. Who is Port Adelaide's leading goal kicker of all time?
In any competition?
In the AFL.
That's Warren Gary Treadray.
Very nice.
How easy are these, Ant? What are you doing?
No, he's
Hang
easing
on.
me into it. He's getting me confident.
What year did Port Adelaide first play at the Adelaide Oval in the AFL?
2011, round 23 against Melbourne.
Beautiful. And finally, who did Port Adelaide beat in round 7, 2007?
Round 7, 2007.
Nice.
Bonus points for how much?
No, that's got a bit of Collingwood at the MCG that day. Wet day, I reckon, round 7. Or was that like Hawthorn or Essendon at Footy Park?
I reckon you're right with the first one, Norts.
I'm going to go Collingwood at the MCG.
All right, so that's your 6 questions, Norts. I'm going to give you the answers. So the question was, who was Port Adelaide's first ever Rising Star nominee? It was Bowen Lockwood in that round 3 game against Geelong. Who did Port Adelaide beat in the first for their first ever win in the AFL? Was Geelong, so correct. Number 3, who wore number 31 in 2004? Was Stephen Salopek. Bit of me action.
The great man.
Who is Port Adelaide's leading goal kicker? Treaders. What year did Port first play at the Adelaide Oval? Was 2011. And who did Port Adelaide beat in round 7, 2007? It was Richmond by 40 points. Saturday Arvo, and we wore the Planet Seal Guernsey with the lightning bolt going down the middle.
Oh,
I've got one of those at home.
oh
I should know
really?
that. I've got one of those
Random
at home.
merch.
Yeah, and that was before I started working at the club. I've got Damon
that's
White's
beautiful.
match worn Guernsey.
Damon White Guernseys, yes.
Day.
There's a connection.
I've got a long sleeve Damon White Guernsey Norts.
Far out. God, these names, like, unbelievable. So what I end up with, 4 out of 6?
4 out of 6. Now we're going to
Oh.
test Mega Head Hudson.
Here we go.
Huddo, first question. What number did Stewie Jew wear in his debut?
Oh, you bastard. I'm going to go with 37.
What pick was Travis Boak?
5.
What did Port Adelaide win the toss in the 2004 grand final?
Oh, shit.
This is good. This is good.
Yes.
50-50.
What was your answer? Yes.
I said yes.
Okay. How many goals has Robbie Gray kicked in his career so far?
Oh, fuck. You're a prick. Oh, Jesus. 412.
How many wins did Port Adelaide have in 1997?
You including the draw?
Yeah, there's the draw. That's what I'm trying to work out. I reckon it was 10.
And finally, who did Port Adelaide beat in round 5, 2010?
Oh, 2010. It was shit that year.
I know this one. I know this one.
I think it was a showdown. I think we beat the Crows.
Is that your final answer?
Oh, I'm looking at North.
All right.
Oh, it's either. Oh, no,
right.
it's between that showdown and Essendon. I
I
reckon.
know Robbie Gray had a good day that day.
Oh, so it's showdown.
All right. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
I reckon he's
All right,
got
so
me.
Hudson-
I reckon-
Hello. What number was Stewie Jew wearing in his debut? It was 37.
Oh, that's good.
1,
What pick was Travis Boak? Number 5.
2.
Did Port Adelaide win the toss in the 2004 grand final? No, they didn't.
Oh, lost the 50.
You said yes.
2. We're heading for a
How
time
many-
later here.
How many goals does Robbie Gray kicked in his career so far? You said 412. He's actually kicked 363.
Oh, thanks, mate.
How many wins did Port Adelaide have in 1997? It was indeed 10.
Oh.
He's on 3. This is it.
Who did Port Adelaide beat in round 5, 2010? It was St Kilda on a Saturday night. And we won by
Oh, it was the
10
Anzac
points.
game.
Anzac round.
Of course.
Sports. I pronounce you
Was
the
it?
winner of the inaugural Ant quiz. Well done.
If I got that question, I would have got it wrong. I thought we played the Crows.
Yeah.
Crows was the week after.
It was 2. Yep, because they were Norton 6 and we had the Spoons.
Yeah.
That's right.
I thought they were Norton 5. Oh, sorry, mate. Well, I'll take the win. I'll take the win.
Win by 1, 4
So what do I
out
get
of
for
6.
that? Do I get a do I get a plaque or some sort of medal?
Look,
I'll buy you a pasty
we'll
on Saturday
discuss.
nights.
Done. Out of Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Pasty. I'll send you I'll give you a shout out, Norts. All right, how's that sound?
Thank you, mate. That's all I need.
All
Very
right,
good.
so well
I like
done. That was a very good quiz.
Very
You're
good.
not happy, are you, Huddo?
Oh, I can't believe that last one. I remember that St Kilda game too.
Yeah, it was raining.
It was
we didn't
pissing
kick a
down.
goal, and we
Milne
kicked
kicked
the
that
last
nutty
3.
one.
Was that the game where Milne kicked that soccer goal for the boundary? We still won by 2 points, but he kicked that bloody
amazing goal.
Mid-air sort of type operation.
Yep.
Down the southern end of Footy Park. That was unbelievable. That guy, one of the best goals I've ever seen.
Yeah, I remember that. I was sitting there going, "Oh shit, that was good."
Robert Walls called it the goal of the century.
Yeah, it sort of trickled through, didn't it, on the line? I remember it. Wow, that was when Choco was coaching too at the start of that year.
Yeah. How's that?
Wow,
Memories.
All right.
Oh, how good. Great
Segue it in, Ed. Here we go.
Headway. Let's seg it in to the random port merch. Norts, this is where we showcase some random port merch you got lying around in the house. And obviously, you're in a beautiful hotel room out looking to the MCG. So limited in this area. But Huddo's going to kick us off with his random port merch.
So I went digging for this because I knew I had it. So I had this lovely image of Byron Pickett after the grand final.
Oh, no.
Howard Pickett. So I just thought I'd have a bit of a look in, and it's like pretty good information about the grand final. Look what's going on here, Norts.
I told you I'm passionate. Somehow, and people go, well, people said to me, oh, well, obviously you didn't go to the grand final. No, I went to the grand final, flew back on a red eye, somehow got to Albert Oval. I think that event kicked off at about lunchtime.
Yeah.
Got to Albert Oval about 9. Got interviewed by Mark Aisel or something on the bloody Sunday roast in the grandstand on 5AA, and made my way down the front row still. And then 25,000 people came behind me about half an hour later. And that was, I remember that photo vividly. That was Brian. It was Brian Cunningham. His farewell, the great man. He should be in the front there. Yeah,
there it is.
Get the focus off that idiot sort of behind his left shoulder and focus on the great man instead. So, what a day, but what a goose! Unbelievable. You don't think I'm reminded about that on a weekly basis at the club?
I reckon I sent a text to Lucas just before. I'm just like, random port merch is going to be very good. So when my pa passed, I inherited all of his port stuff, and he kept all like the newspaper clippings and stuff like that. And I was going through it like since when we moved house, and I'm just going, what the hell is Nort's head doing on the front of the paper?
Geez, I'm good looking though, aren't I? Unbelievable. Full head of hair, pretty refreshed.
I don't think you've changed, Norts.
Yeah.
What would I have been then? 30. Yeah, God. Gee, that's scary. Yeah, 2004. No, it was certainly an emotional day, and you could see we were all getting carried away. Were you guys? Well,
I was there.
What was your age then? Like, how old would you guys have been?
I was 9.
8.
Yeah.
Were you at Albert that day, or you were?
I was.
No, I was at some place in Gawler, absolutely jumping around the streets, not knowing what was going on.
That was me after the 2017 grand final. Playing the Richmond song down the main street. Whoops. But there was, so I have a photo of my nana and pa, right at the back, right next to the grandstand. So, yeah, it was an amazing day.
It was phenomenal. I don't think there was much to it. I think we just watched a replay of the grand final, and then 25 blokes with the worst hangovers of all time rolled out on stage, and we just sung the theme song on repeat for about 98 minutes, and then we all went and bought merch and went home. It was just you just wanted to be there, though, to be around people, didn't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's this, I think you're right about the hangover, because there's this nice photo of Treaders who's looking a bit worse for rare old Aussies. Looks like he's had enough of the media already. But
he's done.
It's Yeah, that was my random port merch, and I'm so glad I found it because I went digging for a good 20 minutes.
Well, I've mentioned my random one is that Damon White kids Guernsey. Like, and it just triggered me, like when you mentioned it, because it was the one with the big power logo that sat on the front. It was just a replica, almost like our logo, just sat on a Guernsey. And I remember we wore it obviously with black shorts that day. I do remember it now. And how I got it was my wife was in radio working, I think a guy called Max Stevens used to be on TV. He was also a player manager, was managing Damon White at the time. I said, I've got to get my hands on one of those Guernsey. That's unbelievable, you know. Anyway, I got it for like a birthday or something like that as a surprise. So Damon doesn't know who I am, but but I've got your Guernsey, mate. If you want it back, I've got it. For what it's worth, but I've got it. So,
well, on the subject of Guernseys, when you first arrived, Norts, we had that pretty much that horrendous. I hate this Guernsey. That away jumper. Ant loves it for some stupid reason.
The white one,
the white one with the teal back, with what apparently is affectionately known as the Dolphin Guernsey.
The white shorts, the white socks.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that god awful thing. What do you think of it, Norts?
I love it. I think it's just a different part of our amazing history.
Oh, yeah. No, I do see where you're coming. How? When did we wear that? That was in 2010.
2009.
9, was it?
Yeah.
1 year lasted.
Thank God for that.
Hey, that's the icon of Tommy Logan's market against Hawthorn at the
G. Yeah, round 4, MCG. Yeah. Yes, he's at Hamish Hartless debut.
Yes.
Yes.
I've got that Guernsey, and I think it's got Sam Colquhoun's signature on the back, so that's even more random.
It had a teal back, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a remarkably ugly teal back. Yep, horrendous.
With some random sort of swoosh, it's part of our history. It's a Guernsey. You wear it for premiership points. It's part of the history.
Well, we know of bring back the bars, but I'm bringing back the Dolphins. I think.
No, we're not.
I'm going to make a petition.
No one's signing that. We're not signing that.
I am.
Bring back the Dolphin.
Bring back because it looks like two dolphins together.
Right. Yeah. I'll take your word for it, Huddo.
And what have you got?
We know that random port merch seems to bring out a lot of footy cards, but mine, I found this in the back of the cupboard, so I went digging. 2004. Playing cards.
Sharp.
We've got Sean Burgoyne, we've got Peter, we've got Primus, Roger, Treaders, Gav, Matthew Bishop. You name it. They're all there.
That's terrific.
Goodness me. Well, bloody Bish brings it down a bit, but no, I know. Bish is a good mate. But yeah, and he'd actually agree with me. He does bring it down a bit. But are they signed?
They are not. No. I need to get them signed.
Well, we've got Sean at the club. We've got Chad. We can get any number of those. Peter hangs around.
I'll see you Monday then, Not.
Who was your favourite player from that era? That sort of, I know you were younger than me. You said you're 8 or 9, but through that era. So the players on those cards there, Ant, who would have been your favourite out of those 10?
Treaders was my favourite, I think, for many reasons. But I always had a fondness for Stewie Jew. I don't know what it was, but that booming left foot kick, particularly the one he kicked in the prelim from 65 or whatever he did, that for me, and the goal with Anthony Hudson, not Jack, his commentary of bullseye and the flag is theirs.
Yep.
Dewey's goal.
And the dancing,
he was one of my favourites.
Running back.
Yeah, he was my Treaders obviously had top priority, but Stewie Jew, one of the greatest, I think.
And where's your love affair with Trav started, apart from him being basically the greatest human on earth? Like what a brand himself and what a superstar of a player. Apart from that, where's the love affair come?
When he signed the deal in late 2012 to stay, became captain 2013. And then every year after that, my love just got deeper and deeper and deeper. And now it's just, it's at uncomprehensive levels.
Yeah.
And he still goes. No, he's just one of a kind.
Yeah. Oh, he'll still just keep it on. He's just he's just a phenomenal athlete. He prepares so well. He such a great team player. We're just so lucky to have him. We're so lucky to have him.
We are, and especially when you talk to him, it's just like you just get sucked in, and it's like I don't want to break away from that. Look into those eyes.
We genuinely we legally can't have him on the pod because you won't be able to go near him.
Yeah, well, luckily it's on Zoom, Huddo?
Yeah, I know.
No, I think he's got many a admirer like you. I tell you, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite, Huddo?
Maddie Primus was always mine.
And lion-hearted, brave.
And I was gutted when he missed out. I still remember sitting there in that game against Hawthorn. I was basically bawling my eyes out when he did his knee. It was the worst day.
Round 3, 2004.
Yep. He kicked the whole bag of goals. He taken them apart single-handedly, and then his knee went.
He went forward, didn't he? He was forward there for the first quarter and a half. I think he kicked 4.
Yeah.
He was rucking as well. It was like, it was phenomenal. And then that boundary throw in on that sort of the outer half-forward flank there. Oh, God, that was just he just deserved so much more. But he was the captain of our football club in our premiership year. I know Treadrow was obviously the captain of the day and for the back half of that 2/3 of the year. But, they always say that Maddie still, held that group together. Phenomenal, a legend of our club. So, so loved. Yeah.
Had the opportunity to interview him a couple of times. He's been great. Love Maddie. Always revitalising.
Get him on the cast here.
We're working on it. We've worked on a few. We've thrown a few. Some have knocked us back, but some.
I'll straighten them up. I'm the media manager. I'll be your producer. And media manager as well.
Love that. Jacko Trengo gave us a scene treatment, which he gave Ant donuts.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Jacko.
Nothing. Yeah, Jacko said nothing.
Is that why when I mentioned him as being really good to work with in the media, you guys sort of went a bit cold?
It was like, well.
Yeah.
Jacko,
That's all right. I'll chase Jacko up. Who else? Put him on my list. Jacko.
We got Bradley Ebert. He's another one.
Oh, come on, Ebo.
I know.
He's retired now. He needs all the pump up Hey Diddle and all that, the wines.
Yeah, we'll happily offer Hey Diddle all the sponsorship opportunities for no cost at all.
And embarrass one more for me. So who else?
It's probably Maddie. Maddie's just giving us donuts. That's as well.
I'm going to text him now.
Maddie, get hot.
the live treatment.
I'm going to text Maddie Promise right now and say, you guys talk to you. I won't talk amongst yourselves for 2 secs. Maddie, here we go. Maddie Promise.
I'm going to get a message from him going, are you harassing me via third parties?
Where's his? Bloody, my eyes are shot. Sorry. Here we go.
All
right.
Goodness God.
Here we go.
I hope this is as successful in Better Call Saul Ant as well. We just.
Hey, Maddie.
Welcome to Norton's
podcast. Sorry, I'm a slow tip. I'm on a. It took me ages. I'm on a podcast with. And you've reached out to him before.
I sent him a text and he sent me nothing back. I've even got it here. I can get it up. He's giving me donuts, Maddie.
Oh, come on, Maddie.
Where is
Anthony.
There it is. Nothing.
No, you might have had an old number or something.
Bloody hope not.
Could you imagine?
How awkward is it when that happens, when you send someone like an impassioned text and it's like, I haven't heard from you for ages and why don't you respond to me and all that? And someone comes back and says, wrong number. Wrong number, pal.
Had that a few times.
Oh my God.
I only called him on it last year, so I hope it's the bloody same one. And he actually answered for that one, so that was good.
All right, I'm sending this now. I've actually, the way I've written it, I'm on a podcast with Anthony and Huddo, and they're keen to have you on. It looks like I'm on a podcast with Anthony Hudson.
And he's just got two personalities.
That's right. So I've just sent that.
Oh, yes, Norts.
Oh. So I've had a but that is to Maddie, MP Maddie Promise. We'll see if he comes back to me. I've got a different nickname for him, but I dare to put Maddie in that one. He probably thinks, what do you call me Maddie for? Anyway,
I think the other one he was called Mattress, wasn't he?
Mattress, yeah. Well,
Mattress.
yeah, obviously because of the big thing he used to wear on his knee, the mattress. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why.
Yes.
Yep. It could have Matt Truss.
Yep. Believe your Norts.
Yeah. You can't PG that, Norton.
Come on, guys, move on.
All right. Should we go to quickfire questions, Huddo?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Norts, this is where this is not quite a quiz. This is more so where we just judge your personal taste in things. So I hope you're ready because we're going to kickstart this straight away. Your favourite TV show?
Favourite TV show is, look, I don't watch a lot of mainstream. You've got me straight away. I don't watch a lot of mainstream TV.
Netflix and streaming is fine, mate. It is completely fine.
Yeah, well, I'm more talking about just sport, like AFL 360 is what I watch.
We pay that.
Pay that?
Yeah, we'll pay that.
AFL 360.
There you go.
Yeah, great. Good. Favourite Simpsons character, North?
Oh, it has to be. Look, again, I wasn't a huge consumer, but my young fella watches it, old reruns and all that, and I'm sort of half in the background watching. It has to be Bart, doesn't it? Has to be.
Oh, I like that.
You know, like he's charismatic. Love it.
He's a bad boy of the Simpsons. Yes.
Bad boy. What's your favourite go-to karaoke song?
Well, there are a few. Look, I like 70s disco. You know, that sort of.
Oh yeah.
That sort of, you know, a little bit of anything sort of from the Village People. I like Billy Ocean, Love Really Hurts Without You type thing. I like Silence in the Stream, Bee Gees, and like there's a lot of Bee Gees, a lot of Village People. Anything where you can absolutely, well, I guess take the piss is what you want. So yeah.
That's similar to me. That's why mine is My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. So you can just go really high pitched and painful.
Correct. Absolutely. I know exactly where you're coming from.
We need to do karaoke together, Norts, I reckon.
Oh, like a duet, like we could do sort of like Don't Go Breaking My Heart or something.
Yes.
It's going to be a duet, Kiki D and Elton John. Or you can be Kiki, I'll be Elton.
Done deal.
Just let me know. Let me know when you do that so I'm not in the room.
By the way, cricket's still from Maddie, sorry.
Oh, I'm used to that.
The mattress is flat.
Correct.
Your favourite potato chip?
Flavour.
Flavour, salt and vinegar.
Yeah, well done,
Beautiful.
Norts. Nice.
We'll pay it. Norts, what is there more of in the world, doors or wheels?
I was thinking about this just the other day. It's funny you asked me this. I heard about this on social media 2 or 3 months ago. And then it was funny. I was thinking about it. It might have only been just yesterday. And I was thinking about it because I was driving. And I thought, it came back in my mind. I thought, well, I've got a steering wheel and four. And I started thinking about the concept. And I remember this debate. Look, I'm thinking there would have to be still more doors.
Yeah, good man, Norts. Yeah. Good man.
Common sense prevails. That's good. That's all we want. Finally, Norts, what is your favourite flavour of shape?
Shape?
Yeah, the shapes flavours. What's your favourite?
Oh, barbecue.
Come on! Yes, Norts.
Oh,
got good taste.
By again, like just to coin a phrase from you, Ant, the length of Flemington Straight. It's not even daylight second. It's that far in front.
Thank you.
They are magnificent.
They are like I could eat packets on packets.
I can feel the steak deeper into my heart.
Well, Huddo, what do you like? What could be? What you not like the chicken shrimp or whatever? Well,
Yeah, chicken crimpy, yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Well, that's third. Daylight second. The chicken crimpy's third. Whatever that call it.
Geez, consolation prize.
They are good. They're salty, but they are good. But the barbecue shape, particularly. Do you remember they changed the ingredients a couple of years ago where they tried to water down the taste? It was obviously a publicity campaign to bring it back. But you get one of those ones down the bottom of the pack, the barbecue shape, and they've got all those little red dots and green. Oh, they just mix. Oh, it's beautiful. Love it.
Might have to send you some in that hotel room, Norton.
Oh my God! No, I'm going to go to 7-Eleven in a minute, just down the road here.
Yeah.
Well, what I have got, like, if you want to have a look at what I've got here, this is the life and times of a media manager. This will just get me through. I've got the old breakaway here. So
yes.
Hello. Well, they didn't have much of an option. You can see I'm a chocolate man.
That's the posh
the standard dairy milk.
Oh yeah.
Oh, jeez.
This is for half time tomorrow night when you get a little bit pecky. It's just the old party mix.
Yeah.
Thinking about getting barbecue shades, but no, I left those, so I might dump back there and get them. So
you need to up your snack game for the sandful, mate, because Lucas brings me pretzels every week.
Oh, pretzels?
Yeah,
they're dry, Lucas. Get a bit of flair, man. Get something. Come on, Snakes Alive or something. Pretzels.
Yeah, them and white chocolate bullets. We usually have white raspberry bullets, which are very nice.
Does. He loves those, and he loves those other little Mars bar. I don't know what he brings. He's all over Lucas.
Oh, bloody hell, that's good.
All right, let's go into our favourite segment of the show, and this is the first one. It's like the Travis spoke, love North, but it's a little bit left field. It's a segment we like to call Better Call Sal, where we showcase our favourite Stephen Salapeck moments. So, Huddo, kick us off with your favourite Stephen Salapeck moment. This week, I should say. There's many.
This week. So, I was going through some old photos the other day of myself and some old players and stuff like that. There was me with Peter Burgoyne, me with Daniel Pearce, me with David Roden. Then I came across the treasure trove. A photo of me with Stephen Salapeck. And that was pretty much it. I met Sal.
Wow.
That was it. Oh, it was the greatest moment, North. Like we have an unhealthy mutual love for Sal, and meeting him, I forgot that actually happened. That was the same year.
How did you fall in love with Sal, you guys? I'm not denying there isn't a bit of love from my end with Sal as well. But how did you fall in love with him?
I actually don't know. Well, I think it's just human nature.
I used to love it's human nature, but I used to love his name just in the following section where the teams are named. It used to be, I think it was Brogan.
Yeah.
At one stage, Brogan, Roden, and then Salapeck.
Yeah. I just rolled.
His name, just his name complimented, and I used to love he went about it. And then, I don't know, just
do you remember
over the years after his passed?
Raccoon hairstyle he had in about, he was rocking about 05. We had some sort of rinse or dye going through this part, and he had this hair down. What?
Yeah. I think we've mentioned that a few times, actually. That was our first one. I reckon that was our first favourite Sal moment. And then Chad in his post-game interview just absolutely ragging on it.
Chad Corns?
Yeah. He was chatting with JB, I think it was. And after we smashed Essendon round 1 of 04, and just was ripping him. He was like, it's a bit shit. Just straight out with it.
Well, that's good. Chad always calls a spade a shovel, which is good. Which is very good. Sullivan. And didn't he have a beautiful kick? I remember he got moved to half back in that year, about 08, 09. And he had that beautiful kick, and he did a smooth mover. Smooth.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Have you got one, Nort's a favourite Sal moment? And we can go as different as we can think of. Doesn't have to be on the field, can be off the field.
No, mine instinctively comes, and it wasn't a great ending for him. He got absolutely knocked out cold against. Do you remember the moment against Hawthorn in 05, was it, or 06, or around 07 at Footy Park? He was running back with a fly. Got incredible courage, and the reason why I like it, and this is all due respect to Sal, he was criticised for being more of an outside player. You know, he was sort of. But this was a moment where he just went back with a fly. I reckon he got a knee. It was shocking. Struck the forehead out cold and got carted off. It set the tone, though. That was midway through the first quarter or around quarter time of that game at Footy Park, down towards the northern end. And, it set the tone. And, poor buggy. You reckon I could find another decent moment, but no, when he got carted off on the ambulance, I remember vividly.
It's starting to become a theme.
This is the second time in a row that we've had Sal getting knocked out.
People love when Sal got knocked out.
Bobby said it because he was basically giving Jacob Surgeon a drive-by going, he's just chipped it up. Sal's run onto it and just gone, bang, just been absolutely poleaxed.
Yeah, I reckon he got poleaxed in that West Coast qualifying final in 07 too, just before quarter time, running back with the flight. So, Sal deserves a bit of credit for that.
Yeah.
He does.
Tough bloke, criminally underrated. Love Sal.
Yeah. How many games
see where the love.
Played, was around
121.
121.
Yeah. Could have been anything. What
have you got, Ant?
Well, he could have been anything, but he was a Salopek, so that was already a big tick for him. So I went with, don't rub your eyes like that. I went with round 2, 2006. It was the first time ever Stephen Salopek hit 20 touches in his career.
Oh, nice.
We ended up winning that game by 26 points at the SCG.
Yeah, I was going to say we beat the Swans, didn't we?
Yeah, right. Wow. That's
a bit of a fact for you. First time ever.
Very good, very good. What would a Sal's highest ever best and fairest mean? Finish.
Ooh.
Would he got to a top 5? Probably not.
Don't think so. He would have gotten top 10, I reckon, probably in around 09. Sort of
when
but he got
went
injured all the
back.
time.
Yeah.
He was just injured all the time, so he wouldn't get enough votes.
Sal. Unbelievable. Yeah.
So our grand plan is, Norts, that we will eventually get Sal on the pod and do this segment with him as well. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Have you reached out to the great man?
No, we're waiting. We're waiting and then hopefully seeing for the best. Otherwise, it's just a sad episode where Ant and I just talk to ourselves about.
And and just a quick update on the Maddie Primus. I think you'll be waiting a while for him too. Because crickets, guys, 0.
Oh,
sadly, but anyway, you win some, you lose some.
That's all good, mate. You've skipped obscure player.
I've skipped. I'm probably saving it best for last, I reckon, because it's going to be a lot better. The final segment we'll do with the Norts. It's called Obscure Port Adelaide Players, where we pick a Port player from over the years that have played less than 100 games. And, just give them a nice little mention for their contribution. So, Norts, have you got one in mind, an obscure Port Adelaide player?
And a good story, too, if you've got one, too.
Yeah.
Less than 100 games. Bloody hell. God, there are a lot of very good players who played less than 100 games. You actually trigger me here. I mean, you think of players like Byron Pickett only played 56 games or something for in the AFL era for us. There are some Sandford players too that, but they well before your time that, I love growing up who played less than 100. But one that's just instinctively come to my mind now, and I don't know why, but Peter Walsh.
Oh, yes. Walshy.
Yeah, Peter Walsh, who came over from Melbourne in about 05, 06.
Yeah, it was after the grand final, I think we got.
Yeah, and was a was revered around the club. So not that I was at the club at that time, but I've since heard stories that he had a reputation for just being out there. So in a positive way, and incredible skills and sort of bobbed up forward sometimes, kicking goals. Then, of course, was stationed at half back sometimes. So, yeah, Peter Walsh from Melbourne would have played, 2 seasons maximum?
Yeah, I think he was 05, 06 and gone.
Yeah. What's yours?
What's yours, though?
He played in 1 win. He played 3 games in 2016. He kicked a goal in a showdown. That'd be Jesse Palmer.
Oh,
Jesse
Jesse
Palmer.
Palmer.
Yeah.
The
So-
win would have been against the Gold Coast Suns, the last
It
round of
was.
the year.
Last round of the year. So he played against Melbourne, played the showdown, and played against the Suns. And that was it. He was on the list for the next year, and then I think he was gone.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's good. Really good one, actually. But it got me thinking, Jesse Palmer. God,
Yeah.
time flies, doesn't it?
I
How
know.
quickly.
Very quickly.
That's 6 years. That's 6 years ago now.
Yeah, that's great. I don't need to hear that, Ant.
I'm only 19. So there you go. Bit of trivia for you. I'm going with the guy that played 3 games in 2006. He kicked 1 goal, 5 in his career. Ryan Willits.
Oi!
Yeah. Used to call him Brucey Willits.
Bruce.
He played, Willis, but Willis, I don't know why they thought
Yeah,
it was
Willits.
There's no deep meaning of that one.
He played in that showdown where we were down to about 24 fit men late in the year when the Crows were top and we were struggling, and we won against all odds. In 06, he played in that game. He presented well, didn't he? He was good looking, strong, athletic. Yeah. He played 3 games.
You get that, don't you, with the big fellas, unfortunately, like us, Ant?
Yeah, I mean, some of us just can't hack it.
Yeah.
Some of us can, some of us can't.
2013 presented a couple of randoms. When I say randoms, with all due respect, I love these guys too, that I'm about to mention. They were great guys and great team players. Remember Louis Stevenson?
Yeah. Regular favourites and Campbell Heath.
Kick and Campbell Heath.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know
The
what
left foot.
frustrated me with him? Like, it's a nightmare when you're meeting someone new, is because he had 2 relatively unusual, obscure names, but they were both first names. You'd have to challenge yourself for the first month. Oh, is it Heath Campbell or is it Campbell Heath? you know, when you second guess yourself, you go. Even then, when I was going to say it before, I thought, is it Heath Campbell or is it Campbell Heath? That's Campbell Heath. Great guy, left footer, blonde, back,
beautiful man,
back, and played a role that year.
Very serviceable.
Serviceable, and same with Louis Stevenson.
Yes, both very good.
Very, very good.
We've mentioned them very much before. We love those blokes, don't we, Ant?
Yeah, we love it. I actually had a similar thing when I first met Huddo too. I thought was it Hudson Jack or was it Jack Hudson? You know.
Yeah.
Or was it Megahead? I'm not sure. Head Mega. I'm not. But Nort, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Listening to your stories and getting a real insight into how you go about things, both with the club, but also with your great knowledge around the footy club. So it's been an absolute pleasure. And Huddo, have you got any final words?
Oh, thanks, great man, and I'll see you Saturday at the Ponderosa.
Yeah, no, and you look after me out there, Elizabeth. You look after me.
I'm your bodyguard, mate.
And a promise update. Nothing, unfortunately. So if I do hear, I will. You guys will be the first to know. But hey, all seriousness, not that that's not serious. But, yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a lot of fun, guys. Time has flown, and what I do want to say on behalf of the club too is that these forums that promote the footy club and promote discussion and interest and engagement. Love your passion, guys. It's just brilliant. We appreciate it. And yours is rating a bit higher than our podcast, so that's a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
No, but the more podcasts we can get out there, the better. And anything that discusses our great club, Port Adelaide, which we share this common love and care for, can't be a bad thing. So, no, thanks for having me on, guys, and keep up the great work.
Cheers, North. Appreciate it.